Shabbat shalom, family. It's your boy Prophet, man. Um, Today, not a lesson or a presentation, anything. I just wanted to kind of do an informal, impromptu update, share some thoughts in regards to my journey thus far. So, for those of you who don't know, the last couple months, I've been looking into um, I've been looking into the legitimacy of the New Testament. Um, probably like a year and a half, 2 years ago, um, I became Facebook friends with a Old Testament only brew. Now this brother is knowledgeable, and I have a level of respect for him, even though I did not agree with his perspective. Okay, so let me be clear. Even though I do not, or I do not agree. I was gonna say I did not agree, but then that would indicate that I am now an Old Testament only brew. But I am not currently. I am still looking over the evidence, looking over the information. I have not come to any conclusions yet. So for those who have been on this journey with me thus far, you've seen some of the videos that I have done recently about this same subject and this topic. No, I have not come to any conclusions yet. However, there are some interesting things that came up in my studies that I kind of wanted to talk about. But getting back to this brother. So this brother, like I said, even though I didn't agree with him, I respected him. And even though he went hard, right? He went hard. To other people, he could seem abrasive, hella abrasive, And typically, I've deleted people for less off my Facebook. I've blocked people for less off my Facebook. But for some reason, even though, and we've gotten into a few heated debates over the years, something just told me not to block him. The worst I've ever done was for like about a 3 or 4 month period. I didn't unfollow him. However, whenever I saw his post come up off my screen, I instinctively swiped past it, right? But I never blocked him. I never unfriended him. I never unfollowed his Facebook page. And he's created like 2 or 3 other Facebook pages since we were Facebook friends initially. And each time I get a friend request from these new pages, and I always accept them. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why. Wasn't a lot of thought and reasoning behind it. However, he's brought out a lot of information over the years, and even though I don't engage in dialogue a lot of times with him about what I see him post, it always kind of begged the question. But I was always dealing with some type of intense amount of research. And not to make me seem like a celebrity or anything like that. Like, my schedule is just so busy that I can't do certain things, and that's not the case. However, I do only tackle certain projects at a time. There may be a certain time period where I'm looking extensively in a specific doctrine. It may be a time period where I'm working on a new album. I'm working on a new music album. There might be a time where I'm writing a book, right? And during those times, a lot of my time, energy, and focus goes to those certain things. So I do have to, maneuver and make adjustments to my schedule and to what I'm focusing on at the time. And unfortunately, even though if some information that's presented to me would prove to be a very interesting topic to research, sometimes it has to wait. I have to put it on the back burner before I can get to it because I'm still dealing with other types of things like that. But in regards to, sorry about that. But in regards to those different projects, sometimes I just can't always get to them. But I make a mental note and I try my best to get to them. Looking at the the research and the information for the true calendar, that took years. So that was my main focus for a long time. And then in between, that amount of time, there were some smaller things I could do, some smaller projects I could present. But it's on the docket. The legitimacy of the New Testament is on the docket. And may I say, thus far, man, oh man, have some things come into question. The first time I've dealt with anybody that was Old Testament only, I was like, what are you smoking? However, I will say this, and my fellow messianic brothers and sisters probably not gonna like this. They have a point. They have multiple points. They have something there. Okay, they have something there. Now, will I say that the New Testament is false completely? No, I won't say that. I wouldn't go so far as to saying that. However, upon further study, and if you've seen some of my previous videos, like the ones I've done, like the last 3 or 4, you've seen some serious inconsistencies. That's how I'm labeling inconsistencies, right? We're gonna treat it like Jada, it's been some entanglements, some biblical entanglements with this New Testament. And it is rough when you think about it, because just like when a lot of us came out of Christianity into the truth, and that was really hard for us because we had to let go of everything we knew, and we had to accept the truth for what it was, regardless if we liked it, regardless if we wanted to, do it, but we had to fight against our desires and what we were told and taught to come into the truth. And if that is in fact the case, that it has to happen again in regards to trying to figure out what the truth is in regards to this New Testament, then unfortunately that's just how it's gotta be. But I haven't found anything conclusive. There are some interesting. So for a minute, I did a video about the comparison between the epistles of Paul and Greek philosophy. And if you go into this video, you can see it. I put some quotes in there, and Paul quotes ancient Greek philosophers quite often. Sometimes he's paraphrasing, so he's basically saying the same thing. He's just wording it slightly different. And sometimes verbatim, line for line, word for word, he is quoting ancient Greek philosophers. Now, somebody could say that is because the New Testament, including Paul's epistles, was written in the Greek. However, I have it on good authority and from some research. Now, I'm not the progenitor of this research, but I have received information and research that solidified it for me that the New Testament was not originally written in Greek. Some books were. However, for example, the Gospels, Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John, especially Matthew, was originally written in Hebrew. So that kind of notion, But then I heard another brother say that Greek philosophy probably heavily influenced Paul, which is why he incorporated some of those sayings and some of the things he was trying to convey to teach and edify us about the truth of the Most High. He used some ancient Greek proverbs. And on face value, on a level surface, I don't have an issue with that, right? Like for me, that's like me trying to give you an analogy, trying to help you understand some of the things that I'm teaching or some of the things that I'm sharing and presenting, right? Where maybe if I talk about it from a biblical perspective, you might not understand it, depending on, where your level is. But I'll give an analogy as to something that's relatable to you. So then you go, oh, I can connect the dots. But also, this is where I have a problem. They say that the word of the Most High that was not written by someone that was speaking directly from him, right? So the New Testament, Paul's epistles as this prime example, they say that it is divinely inspired. Divinely inspired. So therefore, even though it's not verbatim coming from the Most High's mouth himself, it's either coming from a first account, a witness and a first-hand account, or it's coming from somebody who was inspired by the Holy Spirit as they said what they said or as they wrote what they wrote. But when you look at it from that perspective, having anything in it other than something Hebraic or something from a Hebraic perspective, it kind of puts a damper on that entire understanding. What I mean by that is if Paul himself was Hebrew, even though he know how to speak Greek and everything like that, if he knew how to speak Hebrew, why would he use ancient Greek philosophy to elaborate and explain anything about the Most High when ancient Greek philosophy was a polytheistic culture society? And are you really doing the Most High justice by talking about something that doesn't align with your culture, doesn't align with your faith, doesn't align with anything that really you got going on? I know you're trying to minister and you're trying to edify, but what's written, what's been etched in stone, what's been written and added to the Bible, that is for the testament of time. This isn't just a nonchalant exchange of words or a conversation between you and somebody else on the side who happens to be Greek, and you're using Greek philosophy to kind of connect the dots for them. This is what's contained in these pages. So that was one of the things. There's a lot of Greek philosophy in Paul's epistles. Ooh, excuse me. Another thing that the New Testament showed was that it was inconsistent with the accounts between the Gospels. Some accounts have some information that others don't. Some accounts have the same information. They're just not consistent. Some accounts flat out don't have the right information. And it seems like other accounts do. Particularly, the lineage of the Messiah. One book shows certain names and it excludes certain other names. The other book, man, it's crazy. Look, I'll put the link of these videos down in the description so you can go for yourself and see. But some of these books got the lineage passing through what is assumed to be the lineage of Mary, which is false, because lineage passes through the male line from father to son. Seed passes from father to son. It does not go through the woman. I am sorry, sisters. So Mary's lineage has no bearing upon who or whom the Messiah is assumed to be. And then also in the Gospels, there are prophecies that are supposedly connected to the Messiah that are originally in the Old Testament. And so they quote these prophecies in the New Testament, and they say that these prophecies are being fulfilled by the Messiah. And it'll in the New Testament, it'll say something along the lines of, as it is written, or as the prophet Jeremiah said, or as the prophet Isaiah said, and then it'll say XYZ, and it'll quote that original prophecy, that XYZ. So you can go back to Jeremiah, you can go back to Isaiah, or wherever else that prophecy is saying is being fulfilled from. You can go back to that prophecy and read it verbatim, But so the New Testament, I'm just giving this is not a legitimate prophecy. I'm just giving you an example as to what I've seen happen. The Messiah is walking down the street. He sees a wolf. The wolf walks up to him, and the Messiah touches the wolf's head, and then the wolf speaks. And the wolf then turns around and runs away, right? The New Testament, you read that happening. And after that scene happens, it'll say, as it is written of the prophet, Izu. I'm going to just call him Izu. The prophet Izu speaks. So the wolf's mouth shall be open and flee from the Messiah, right? And it'll have that in the New Testament. Boom. It'll be written. You'll be like, okay, well, where does this show in the Old Testament? So you'll go to the Old Testament, to the book of Uzu, whoever the prophet was that said it. And in the book of Uzu, it'll say, so the word of the wolf shall be open and then flee from the Messiah. And you go, oh, see, he did fulfill that prophecy, right? But you just read exactly what was quoted from the New Testament. But when you go to the beginning of that chapter or the previous chapter and read all of that previous chapter and that current chapter that has that prophecy, you realize that book, that entire chapter, that verse that you were quoted had nothing to do with the Messiah at all. Actually, when you read the chapter from verse 1, it was talking about, let's just say, it was talking about a wolf representing a nation that was going to come against Israel. And so the nation came against Israel. Israel fought the nation, which is what was symbolizing the wolf speaking to the Messiah. Israel won that war, and thus that nation that lost that war against Israel had to flee to whatever nation or country, wherever they had to go. And so the prophet is speaking in terms of something like that. And he speaks about the mouth of the wolf being open and the wolf fleeing. But then you go and you read it and you're like, wait, this isn't talking about the Messiah at all. However, the New Testament took that one verse and created an entire narrative around that one verse to make it seem like that verse was being fulfilled in current time of the New Testament being written by the Messiah. Now that I did notice. And it's not just one case, it's multiple cases. If you do not believe me, if you want a quick example that you can go and look to yourself, go and look in the book of Matthew where it talks about the virgin shall give birth. And the virgin shall conceive and bear a child. And then you go to the book of Isaiah where it got that prophecy from that's supposedly been fulfilled by the Messiah. Go back to Isaiah. You'll notice that if you read it in context, that chapter has nothing to do with the Messiah. And that virgin that is talked about in Isaiah is not a virgin, meaning a woman who's never had sex before, because the Hebraic word for virgin just means a young maiden, a woman of marriageable age, a young woman. That's all it means. It has no sexual connotation whatsoever. And I've addressed that part in the virgin birth doctrine debunk video I did a while back. But go check that out if you don't believe me. It'll give you a quick example. It only take you maybe, 15, 20 minutes to read everything and do your little research. That's a quick one. So it's some things that are not adding up. It's some things that are concerning. It's some things that are addressing. However, I noticed on the Old Testament only side, they do reach. They reach on certain things. And it's hard to just take one's word for it because you know what position they come from, obviously, and I'm a man of facts. So I need facts behind everything. You can't read to me a scripture and say, okay, see, this is what it's talking about. It means this and this and this and that. And you don't have anything to back it up. It's just, it happens to go along with what you believe because you've already presented this other information. Not all information is related. Not all information got connections between the two. So that's why even though you are studying information as a whole, you have to independently look and fact check everything that you look into. So Man, so yes, I'm excited. I'm continuously going through this. I'm taking my time. I'm not overly exerting looking into this at one particular time to get an answer. I'm taking my time. I'm letting the Most High reveal his truth to me, and we're gonna go day by this. It took me 2 years to figure out the true calendar. This may take 2 years too. It may take longer. Who knows? But at the end of it, when we get to the conclusion of the matter, I can assure you, I will either be keeping the New Testament as it's the word of the Most High, or I won't. You know what I mean? And whether it means certain things in the New Testament was exposed due to my research, and some things weren't, or the whole thing, or none of it. Who knows? I'm not there yet. But something's gonna happen. It's gonna be some type of change, some type of impact on my life. Speaking about that, all praises to the Most High, higher for his grace, mercy, encouragement, and his blessing, his favor. Man, listen. So I told y'all it took me 2 years to get the true calendar, because I wanted to keep the true Sabbath. I wanted to keep the true Sabbath. I wanted to keep the true holy days and the feast days. I didn't want to keep doing it on this Gregorian calendar, this Greco-Roman calendar that we got. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, go. I'll put those videos in the link to those videos in the description as well. But I was finally able to come to the conclusion, and then I was doing some more research to make sure I knew how to understand how to keep this calendar, how to keep these holy feast days and the correct Sabbath the right way. And I recently had a talk with my employer. For those who do not know, I am in the military, so we got to do certain things that's mandatory that normally as a civilian you would have a choice in the matter. So I was able to speak to my employer, and I brought up the correct calendar, the Creator's calendar, the lunisolar, and explained to him how important it is for me to keep the correct Shabbat. And he went with it. He was good with it, man. We didn't have any type of contention. It's like the Most High was sitting in the room with us, man, and it was amazing. So I can bring and provide a praise report that I am able to keep this calendar, because before, during my research, whether I kept it on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, it didn't really matter, because if the calendar's wrong, the days are wrong. So what I did was I just pretty much took whatever day off I had to observe and keep Shabbat, just give glory to the Most High. I knew that that wasn't the correct day. However, until I figured out what the correct day was, no matter what I decided upon would be incorrect as long as it was on that Gregorian calendar. So I'm happy. I'm excited. I have this newfound sense of just peace. Like, that's one monkey off my back. We got a couple more. I know if you've seen my videos, have had clean shaven faces, right? That's also in the works as well in the military. I've already put together a request for a waiver, so I do not have to shave anymore. All praises to the Most High for his work in that. Haven't gotten a word back yet, but hopefully sometime soon that will come down, as well as no more vaccinations, because they make them mandatory in the military. You don't got a choice. And if y'all have been seeing any of my posts, any of my videos, you know I am not down with breaking Torah. I do not like it. I'm not about cutting into my flesh. I'm not about not keeping my body a temple of the Most High. You know, and then knowing all the stuff that's in the vaccines and everything, that the agenda that they're trying to push now, anything, especially with this COVID mess. Look, so we are moving. The Most High is moving. I'm giving him all glory, honor, and praise. And I'm thanking you guys for your prayers and your encouraging words, man. You guys are awesome. So I ain't gonna hold you too much longer. I just wanted to come kind of share some thoughts with you guys, give you some information, give you that praise report, you know. So I pray that you go and you move in peace, love, and light, you guys. Be safe and shalom.